my time, think it's my year, yeah.
What is up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the morning show. It's the best morning show in finance. I'm Spencer Israel here with JC Parets. No Steve Strauss. He's still in Asia, in case you're wondering. No Ian Cully. He still does not have a voice, but he'll be back with us next week, we hope, provided he has a voice. Regardless, the show must go on. Here's the thing. We've got Kimmy Sokoloff today. We've got Mary coming on today. If you don't know who Mary is, you're about to find out and you're going to love her. And our featured guest today is Christian Tharp, a trading coach. He'll be on the show in about a half hour from now, prepared to discuss charts of his own. In the meantime, it's Friday, so we like to talk about Bitcoin on Friday. It's Crypto Fridays. We have some movers to discuss. I want to talk about a trade that I recently made. And I guess we just had a jobs number. Maybe that'll come up. Probably not too much because, we don't really care too much about that stuff here on this channel, but I feel like it deserves a mention. So anyway, that's the plan for today. Smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Here we go.
All right. Good morning, folks. Happy Friday, Crypto Friday. How's it going there, Spencer? Us mere mortals here in the United States, not gallivanting throughout Asia like the rest of the fellas.
We're dropping like flies here. We lose Straza. We lose Ian. What's next?
Listen, go show. Put at the end of the deck, Fonz. Look at the look at a couple of the pictures. Let's share with the folks what's going on in Asia because it's pretty exciting. Share the one with Jim Rogers. Yeah. They were at Jim Rogers' house today. Are you kidding me?
I know. Like his actual house.
Like his actual house in Singapore. So they met him yesterday, actually, and they were like at this random, cafe at this like random mall. As it turns out, it wasn't that random. It was literally across the street from where he lives. So they were like in a residential neighborhood in Singapore, and they're hanging out. They're waiting for him. They think that Rogers is going to stand them up. Then all of a sudden, here comes Jimbo, no bow tie, by the way, and he's going into the cafe, and he's like fist pumping everybody. He's like the mayor around there. He lives across the street, so he's probably there all the time. I bet you that these locals have no idea that this guy's like a legendary, gajillionaire investor, that we all think is like the coolest guy,
You're probably right.
And also is really cool to find out that he's a cool dude. Like he's not an asshole. Like this guy could very easily just be he's not. These guys are telling me that this guy is the man. They're like total besties with him. Look at the one with Sean and Jim. Sean's gonna frame that. Sean is like the ultimate nerd.
I feel like this alone made the whole trip worth it. They can go home now and it'll be fine. Like,
hold on, can we throw up the shot of Straza eating something real spicy? He got like a hot pepper in his mouth. Oh, so for those of you guys who don't know, who are wondering what the heck are these guys talking about, a lot of you guys know if you guys have been watching the show. So Steve Straza, Sean McLaughlin, over there on the right there, that's Joel Panicott. Joel is he's from India and he works for the CMT Association and he's traveling with our crew. And over on the left, that's Giancarlo, jazz musician extraordinaire, producer of a top 10 jazz album in 2021, believe it or not. Also once opened for Coolio, does a little rapping on the side. And Giancarlo,
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? A little fun fact for you. Fun fact, Giancarlo once opened for Coolio. Next time you're with Giancarlo, tell him to drop a freestyle. Right? Tell him to drop a freestyle. So that's Giancarlo there on the left, head of our video audio, and the team seems to be having a great time. I don't know if you caught some of the pictures. These guys are actually giving a presentation in Singapore.
I think they just wrapped up.
Just wrapped up. All right.
I think.
Well,
yeah.
These guys are having a blast. I'm happy. I'm very happy for them because not only do we work together, these are obviously good friends of mine. So I couldn't be more thrilled. I've been to most of these places and I had great experiences myself. That's what kind of sparked the trip originally. So we'll keep you posted on the documentary as it comes out. But these guys are having a blast so far. After day 2, I mean, they're off to a great start. Straz is like, it can only go downhill from here, JC. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I think they peaked early. No, but I'm like, listen, guys, you started off strong. Keep up the pace. I'm super happy for them. They seem to be eating very well also.
All right. Starting next week, we will have a landing page, a place for you to go to sign up, and you'll get all the updates from the trip and then the documentary as they happen. So look for that.
Very cool.
Look for that next week.
You want to markets?
You want to do? I was going to ask you. Do you want to do start with the charts or start with the jobs number or neither?
I am convinced that these jobs numbers are really just there to help keep financial journalists employed. I'm convinced. I used to kind of think that was the case. The only people that are talking about the jobs number are journalists. And listen, by the way, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Journalists being
here's the way I see it. I think it's important enough to garner a mention, like a brief mention, but nothing more than that. So I'll just mention it right now.
I'll give it to you. What happened? Was it a good number? Was it a bad number?
So remember yesterday's ADP report? You don't, but yesterday's ADP report blew it out of the water. It was like a huge beat. So expectations were high heading into this one, and it was not a beat. Actually, only 209,000 jobs added last month versus a 225 estimate. The prior reading was 306, so 306,000 added in May, 209,000 added in June. A bit of a month-over-month drop there. Unemployment rate stayed the same at 3.6%. I'm sorry, that was the estimate, 3.6%. It was 3.7% last month. And that's where we're at. So more confusing macro data.
I was going to say, I think I'm more confused now than before you started talking. That's why we don't give a shit. We don't care.
Yeah.
We're interested in how the market reacts to that. And here we are. Right. Futures are flat. So a big nothing burger.
We do care about how to trade it when we talk to like Neto. That's what we care about, but we don't really care so much about the numbers themselves. So let's move on. State of the markets.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. I want to start out with the S&P chart, and then we'll get into Crypto Fridays, run the bumper and everything. But let's start with that S&P chart, Fonz. It's chart 10 right there. I've been getting a lot of compliments lately, and that's just not how I normally live my life. Usually people are telling me how dumb I am and how crazy I am, and I shouldn't be buying stocks in a bear market. And then when it's the other way, when they think it's a bull market and I'm selling stocks, I'm such a fool and all these things. So that's great. That's just how I live my life. I just, people always telling me how dumb I am and all the things I do are stupid and all that. Lately, it's like, oh, JC, you really nailed this one. You've been pounding the table since the fall and da-da-da-da-da. Like every day, people are telling me how smart I am. And if I have, in my experience, when that starts to happen, I want to check myself. And I want to check the ego. I want to check the market trends. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm not any smarter today than I was 3 months ago, 6 months ago. In fact, I'm probably dumber. Don't you get dumber as you get older? Anyway, the point is, I get this.
I actually have a headline / stock that relates to that line later. So we'll come back to that comment again.
Foreshadowing, that's called foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So for me, when everybody starts telling me how smart I am, I like to remind myself that I'm really not that smart. We did a good job of counting stocks last year to realize that more were going up than going down, and that certainly helped us a lot. In this environment, I want to talk about what could change things. What could perhaps put us in an environment where we want to be spending more time, maybe looking for stocks to short, maybe looking to sell calls, maybe looking to put on more delta neutral positions, right? What would the market need to do to kind of lean us in a different direction versus, really spending a large majority of our time looking for stocks to buy which has really been the case for, almost a year now, really towards the end of last summer, when we really started going and looking for opportunities from the long side. We've consistently been on that side since. Okay, so what's it going to take? For me, I think it's these August highs. I think that's a big one. If the S&P 500 loses those August highs, I think the market could, if not get under pressure, perhaps be more in more of a neutral camp, right? Maybe put on more pairs trades, a long and a short to go with it. Like I said, delta neutral positions, maybe selling calls, right? That makes sense?
It does make sense. And before you keep going, I neglected to mention to you that today's guest, Christian Tharp, asked to come on 15 minutes early, so not at 9, at 8:45. So let's get through this, and then we'll save the crypto stuff for after, Christian.
Deal.
Okay.
Deal. Okay, so I think, listen, there's a lot more to it than just the S&P 500 chart. But I think this is a simple one. If the S&P is below 4,300, maybe some warning signals should fire up in your brain. Maybe some, like I said, some more delta neutral positions and things like that. And I want to throw a short up there. I know we talked about it already this week. This is Meta. It's an interesting buy the rumor, sell the news sort of situation. The stock has, tripled off the lows, right? It tripled off the lows. And, everybody's talking about how the fundamentals, aren't driving this. And now all of a sudden you get all this news where you have the fastest user, the most amount of users, new users, the fastest in an app in history, like not even close. And the stock's not doing anything, right? So that's, in my experience in strong uptrends, good news comes out and stocks can't rally on that. It's probably a good indicator that a lot of that's already priced in. So if looking for short positions, if Meta, and by the way, speaking of keeping an open mind, this is the best trade I've ever put on in my entire life, to be fair. And now here we are looking to short it. So, no friends here. We don't care. It doesn't matter. It's just letters and math. So even though this was a huge winner for us, here we are looking to short it, right? So if we're below 290 in Meta, we want to be short. I'm not really sure. Price targets, maybe 240 looks pretty good to me. To take some profits.
Okay.
Maybe sell some naked calls, collect some income. Again, only if we're below 290. Above 290, you can't be short the stock, right? So just to be clear, 290 is the big level there. Just throwing that out there. Interesting opportunity there. What do you say? You bring Crispin on?
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm just thinking about wrapping my head around short and Meta real fast because man, the tides can turn quickly on this thing, right? So, but hey, that sometimes being contrarian is the way to go, right? Just you'd think, oh, just now, maybe the sentiment is starting to really proliferate and filter down. That, oh, have you seen Meta? Oh my God, it's on fire. We got to buy. But of course,
here we are doing the opposite.
Here we are doing, just considering.
Well, we already took profits, right? So we already sold it. So technically, we have been sellers up here, and now we're thinking about taking that to a whole nother level and just putting on a straight short position. To be clear, I don't have a position on as we speak, but I want to throw it out there, share it with the audience, and it's something that I'm considering right now.
This thing's had 7 straight green months. I think 8 straight, 8 in a row. Yeah, it's been on a run. All right, let's bring on today's featured guest, Christian Tharp, and talk. Oh, why am I like that? Let's fix our screen. There we go. All right, let's see what's on Christian's radar right now.
Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Christian, what's up, buddy? Hold on, we got to unmute him. Unmute yourself, Christian.
Oh, wait a minute. Christian.
Are we still out?
Wait. We don't have his audio. Okay, wait, check to see in the settings gear on the screen there. Check your audio settings real fast, and let's see if you're on the right mic setting. Sometimes it changes.
We got to get like a second bumper, you know, keep the mojo
Yeah.
going.
Well, the good news is I can always go. Okay, so here's what we'll do, Christian. Stand by for a second. Let's go to the Bitcoin.
Yeah, hit the
Okay,
Bitcoin, and then you work on his audio.
JC is going to run with the Bitcoin, which is it's good that it worked out this way actually. And I will troubleshoot with Christian. So I'll be all right, and then you want your bumper, right? So I'll play our Bitcoin bumper, and then I'll be back with Christian.
Well, of course, today is Friday, Crypto Fridays, and, got to start with this chart. I mean, look at this thing. The last 2 weeks, just chop, 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 chop. I mean, man, look at this. You want to talk about a frustrating range. I mean, this is an hourly chart going back 2 weeks, just chop, 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 right? So I think the upside or downside resolution to this is going to be very telling for the next major direction for Bitcoin prices. And then why don't you show slide 3 here, Fawn, so you could see exactly where this consolidation is taking place. Guys, this is what demand absorbing overhead supply looks like. These were the highs in April. These were the highs in June. These are the highs in July. Like there's just more selling pressure than buying pressure at these prices. That is just a fact. It's not my opinion. It's literally just math. Why do you think that prices can't break through these levels? Is it because of the fundamentals? Is it because of the government? Is it because of manipulation? No. There are just more sellers than buyers at this price, right? That's it. And people were like, well, JC, for every buyer, there must be a seller. Yes. The thing to remember, however, is that there are not an equivalent amount of buyers and sellers at every price. And that's why prices move, right? And that's why technical analysis works, because what are we doing? We are looking for trends. In this case, this is an uptrend, has been an uptrend, consolidating at a logical area. Throw that sideways range one more time there, Fonz, just to zoom in on what's been going on. Wow, right? Just chop, 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 chop. And then let's really zoom out there, Fonz, so you can see that this resistance that we've seen in April and in June and July just so happens to come right at that former support from 2021, the summer of 2021, that held last summer before ultimately breaking. Right. Now here we are back to the scene of the crime, right? So for me, where the overhead supply is taking place, by the way, also at the anchored VWAP from the all-time highs as well. So just a lot of market memory. 31 is the big level. I'm long Bitcoin. We're long the crypto miners, but I'm going to be irresponsibly long, like mortgage the house long, if we're holding above 31,000. And that to me is Bitcoin. Are we ready for Christian, or should we?
We have him. Christian, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
Listen, technical analysts have never been known for being great at their video audio game. We're trend followers, Christian. Listen, tell the folks who don't know you quickly, little elevator speech about yourself. Who are you, and why should we give a damn what you think?
Who are you?
I would say probably because I have a pretty diverse, or I guess well-rounded resume. Been coaching students on stocks and option trading for 17 years. Operate 6 different successful trade signal services, and I'm also a chartered market technician. So I always say I kind of check those 3 boxes, and I don't know that too many people do. So. And
you're a CMT. You're a CMT. So how dumb can you be? Right? Is how I look at it. Right? You're doing something right, Christian. Right?
Yeah. Trying to. Yeah, for sure.
Christian comes to us from the lovely state of Ohio. Is it you don't like Ohio, Spencer?
Yeah, Michigan fan.
No, I'm pretty neutral. I'm pretty neutral.
Like anything west. Like anything west of New Jersey, like what happens before you get to California? Like he's just for him.
Dude, I lived in Michigan for 7 years. Come on, I lived in Michigan for 7 years.
So you really hate Ohio, then?
Yeah,
you really hate it.
That's what I think.
Christian was kind enough to send over a few charts. I think we have them up here. Let's start with the first one with the SPX here. Now, I'm going to ask you, Christian. I'll tell you, I'm a little overwhelmed by looking at this chart.
Yeah.
It's a lot of colors, there's a lot of lines.
I think you should add
Um,
more lines next time.
Yeah.
More lines.
What the hell are we looking at?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're not the first one to respond that way, but
Okay.
keep in mind that when members or students are attending my calls, they kind of already know this. I refer to it as like when the very first time you leave your house and you go to work, right? And then you go to work and then you go to somebody else's house after. You already know the path that was before, right? So you just kind of know what these lines are for. The
I like
only
that.
ones,
I like
yeah. So when you first tune into one of my calls, I always say, I know there's a lot here. You'll catch up to the speed of the pitch. Just give it some time. So a lot of this stuff was from the past, many of which, JC, I know you followed as well. With, say, you can see that big dotted green trend line going from left to right. One, the one that really helped add to the validity that these markets were going higher. So some of this stuff I've seen with your chart work as well.
I really like how you extend your trend lines. I always tell people, when you have these trend lines, extend them. They're gonna come in. They're gonna come in handy in the future, right?
Yep. Stocks have a memory, and sometimes it's years away. So, and most of what you see here, like the yellow line, all these things, the 4,300, I heard you mention a little while ago. I keep these things here because whether it be a week from now, a month from now, or 6 months from now, they may come back into play. And so I keep the important ones. When I took this shot for today's call, I kind of broke the charts I was providing today into two camps. The first was the short term with the S&P and the NASDAQ 100, and then the other two with the Dow and the Russell, going back to a point I heard you mention a few minutes ago as far as what would signal more gains. So in the short term, we're a little bit cautious on the market here. Just been a great run. And I always say back of the napkin, general statements. We've had a great run. We're allowed to have pullbacks, and those are healthy, and those are good for bull run.
Best start to the NASDAQ in history there, Christian.
Yep.
So I think you're underselling the run that we've had here.
Yeah, just watering it down a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So the only thing I would draw, I'm like you, big price fan. Keep it simple, stupid type approach, but I do love a good momentum divergence. I keep the RSI up. I like to look at multiple time scales, daily, weekly, monthly. It's what helped us forecast for the bear market was a large monthly momentum negative divergence. The reason why I point that out is if you look just the last few weeks on the chart of the S&P, you're going to see we've got a new high this week in price, right? So I got that red line up there. You see low price, high price. For those that might be new to this, if you look at the RSI, the relative strength index at the bottom, you're going to see the corresponding momentum peaks. You're going to see I have the red line going down. So I always kind of say, hey, sometimes a picture speaks 1,000 words. I got price going this way. I got momentum dropping here a little bit.
So wait, what is it? What is all this? Summarize this whole chart in one. Like, what should I think from this?
Well, what he's saying is that we're breaking out above the August highs, and we got new highs this week in price, but we're putting lower highs in momentum. So he's pointing out the bearish divergence, which doesn't necessarily mean a trend reversal, but a trend change, maybe from an uptrend to a sideways trend. Right? So I'll push back on you. Am I putting words in your mouth, Christian, or is that about right?
No, that's about right. And I always put it
It's
in
almost like we
context
read
of
the
scale.
same books. You and me.
Yeah, right.
Like I've been following JC I follow like-minded folks that we kind of believe in the same things. So yes, just simply what this tells me is, hey, in the short term, we might want to be cautious. Scale is key. We are able to kind of forecast the little pullback. You can almost see my little green lines there, that little flag, as some would call it. Momentum was weakening on a hourly scale. So it told us, well, small pullback, we got a small pullback. Now we've got daily divergence is telling me we might be getting ready for a pullback of a little bit bigger magnitude. Nothing trend changing, but we could see it come back to 4,300, no problem, maybe even 4,200. And if you look at the NASDAQ, the second chart I sent you, Spencer, with the 100, this was the other short term, where you can kind of see that little red line. The NASDAQ has done a great job giving us a nice little breakout point. I wouldn't be surprised if we took one more shot higher before a pullback, in which case, breaking through that little red line you see there, that would be our cue that we probably got another 1%, 2 or 3 above. There's your short term.
Yeah, Apple and Microsoft were both up yesterday.
Apple looked great by itself. Like we were looking for long plays just in case. Again, we're a little cautious here, but I said Apple is one of my favorites there. Microsoft looked great. If I didn't show you anything of the market and I turned off the news and I showed you those two charts, wouldn't you want to go long those?
What would the market have to do to invalidate these potential bearish divergences?
So for me, I always keep it as simple as if that RSI were to wipe out the divergence, then I would say, oops, right? Didn't kind
So
of.
if it takes out the high of the lower high in the RSI.
Correct. And I realize some don't do that, but I keep it very simple. I also subscribe to price is king. Whatever price tells me. So if you pull up the Russell 2000, this is another thing I've heard you speak and seen you post on Twitter about Russell. When it broke through the 1800 mark, I'm not sure.
Throw the Russell chart up.
I think it's the next one.
There you go. Now, if you look at the lower green line down there, right where the moving averages converge, once we broke through 1800, it was off to the races. We targeted 1900 because that yellow line has been important for years. We got there. We stalled 3 different times, confirming our belief that this is an important number. You take that thing out, and RSI or not, the Russell in price is telling us we're going higher again, and we may be challenging 52-week highs. I'd like to see that look at the last chart, the Dow. I think you just posted about this just a day or two ago, but we've been watching that little red line right across the top. A lot of supply coming in, a lot of supply. We can take that out. Taking these big numbers out on the Russell and the Dow, to me, those would say, hey, look, my guess is by that point, the RSI did its job and invalidated that signal. But these price breakouts would be, I think, very key for the next leg.
So you focus a lot on options. You're a technician, CMT, but you specifically focus on the options market. You want to walk us through maybe a trade that you put on this week or maybe are looking to put on today or something?
Yeah, well, we are currently long both Apple and Microsoft. We have the 345 calls in Microsoft and we have the 192.50s in Apple. So we have
what expiration? What expiration?
Today.
Oh, they expire today. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
So I do different scales, let's just say, for different strokes for different folks. So you have a slower speed service, we have a swing trade, and then there is the swing for the fences, which is what this is a little bit more to. So these are trades where we call
those big daddy hacks.
Yeah, we take the swings, and I always say we focus a lot on risk. We focus a lot on risk and risk management, but big winners solve a lot of problems too. So what we try to do is try to set up great risk reward where we don't have pressure to have to be right all the time. We focus very much on chart work, being in line with the market, good risk reward, wash, rinse, repeat. And if you can remain disciplined, that'll always play itself out. So those trades.
And you're putting yourself in a position to get lucky, right? Like people are like, oh, that was luck. It's like, well, you bought those calls. Like, you put yourself in the position to get some luck. And I appreciate that. And finding favorable risk versus reward opportunities on a consistent basis is really the best way I've ever seen it done. Whether it be in options or in equities, it's really just a risk reward. The vehicle is less important. The risk versus reward consistently being in your favor, having the trends in your favor to increase your probabilities of success. You do all of that. In my experience, in my 20-something years of experience, that sort of framework, regardless of the asset class, regardless of the type of vehicle, I mean, that seems to be the winning strategy.
Oh, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more. It's the first lesson I teach everyone is forget all this that you've been marketed to believe about these indicators, that indicator, this, that, or the other. There's any number of ways to skin the cat in the market. They just provide this setup. At the end of the day, there's one thing that trumps it all, and that is basic math. If I'm risking a little to make a lot, I'm probably winning. If I'm risking a lot to make a little, I'm probably losing. And no matter what setup I'm using, whether it be price, which I believe is the most important, I think you would agree, or if I'm using some sort of moving average Bollinger Band Elliott Wave combo, at the end of the day, small losses, big winners will probably beat everything.
I like it, Christian.
Christian, where can the people find you?
Well, I tell you what, Christian@adamesh.com if you have a question about anything I said, or if you want to yell at me about it, Michigan fans, anything like that. See a couple.
Give them hell. Give them hell, Michigan fans.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, we post daily video content. I like to provide a setup a day, a trade idea a day. We post that on Wealth Pop, so just so people can see what I do. Otherwise, I always say feel free to reach out and say hi.
All right.
Love it.
Link to Christian's Twitter is in the description as well. Christian Tharp, have a good one.
Thanks
Good
for
luck,
coming,
guys.
man.
Have a great weekend.
Dude, how funny is it? I'm like, oh, what expiration? He's like, today. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I didn't see that one coming. I like this comment in the chat from Trey Bailey because I've actually noticed the same exact thing. He says, "Love this show because you guys talk charts and price, not macro. Tired of these Twitter spaces where FinTwit personalities say a bunch of crap to sound smart about the market." I think a couple of years ago when Spaces first started, it was a lot of talking stocks, right? Like individual stocks. And now it's everyone's like a macro tourist. Everyone like pretends to understand the macro everything. And I agree with you, Trey. I think it's gotten worse and the discourse has gotten worse and more boring. And everyone's trying to sound like an economist. And like, we're not economists. We're not going to pretend we're economists. We don't know.
Let's be clear about something though. It's not that we start with our macro. And I think that's where that gets lost. People are like, oh, macro free podcast, macro.
Oh,
the problem is that the problem for most people is that the macro
rephrase
that they're referring to is the macro that doesn't matter. Things like the economy, things like fundamentals, things like politics. That's the macro that people are talking about that don't actually matter. The macro prices, things like crude oil, credit spreads, both domestically and European credit spreads. All of those things are macro, and that's where our analysis starts, and we focus on that. So it's not. I don't want to like throw macro in one massive bucket. It's really it's the gossip that they're focused on rather than what pays, which is price.
Right. I guess I should have rephrased and said like the economic data, but they're not talking about it in a way that's like actionable or that you can get a trade out of it. It's like, oh, what does this mean? Well, who cares what it means, right? I mean, give me a trade or don't give me a trade. So that's what we try to do here. Is try to give you some kind of an actionable signal, right? Whether it's from the data with John Netto because he's trading these events, or it's just a top down analysis macro, and then you drill down from there. But I liked that comment from Trey.
And not only that, but these glorified gossip columnists. And by the way, just because you went to an Ivy League school doesn't mean that you're not a glorified gossip columnist. You're literally writing gossip columns for adults. Keep in mind that a lot of this stuff is preventing investors from taking action because they're like, oh, stocks can't go up until housing does this.
Nothing pisses me off more than that.
But it's like stocks can't go up until this does that or that does this. Meanwhile, stocks keep going up. So, right? So if you are fighting trends, which is rule number one, Spencer, I don't know if you watched yesterday's episode. Rule number one is don't fight the tape. If you are fighting the tape in favor of some other nonsense like the Fed or whatever, you're by definition a loser, right? You're losing because you're focusing your attention on the opposite of what you should be focusing on as an investor, right? You're focusing on you're allowing the gossip columns to prevent you from making money, right?
Yeah, it's gotten really that nothing pisses me off more than that. Just these never-ending doomers, and it's like you can be a perma bear, but you better be comfortable being wrong more often than you're right, because that's what's going to happen, right? So,
dude, these perma bears are the biggest losers on the street.
They
are such losers,
and they suck you into a rabbit hole and a never-ending doom and gloom, and it just pisses me off. All right, anyway,
because what happens? The perma bears, they get it right once a decade, right? And while they're taking all their victory laps, that's the time to be buying stocks. They're launching their perma bear ETFs at the bottom and then wiping out all their investors. And then they're so they're like, oh, this is a bear market rally. Meanwhile, it's the strongest start to a year of all time. They're calling it a bear market rally. They're going to keep calling it a bear market rally until the next bear market, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, let's move on. Wait, did we finish with the crypto or was there more?
Hell no, we didn't finish with the crypto.
All right, let's go back to the crypto. Let's go back to the crypto. I know we did Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin 31,000. That's where we left it. What is this now?
Throw up their slide 13 there so you can see how Bitcoin and Ethereum both finding support at these former resistance levels, right? So when you're really zooming out here, the trends are up in both of these, right? So the short-term trends are sideways. The intermediate-term trends are stuck below overhead supply, as we discuss around this 31,000 level for Bitcoin. But the long-term trends are up, right? We're above support. So the long-term trends are still up. So my suspicion is that the short and intermediate-term trends are going to turn up, and that is when I will be irresponsibly long Bitcoin is how I look at it. So we're always sort of leaning on the longer term trends, right? So if you want to go on to some of the other altcoins, I'm just not seeing much. Here's Binance down near support, hasn't able to find its footing, hasn't been able to get going. Litecoin, on the other hand, interesting, holding above 100, right? So we want to keep a close eye on that Litecoin. If it's above 100 from the long side, I'm all for it. I think it's got 150 written all over it. If Litecoin is not above 100, you can't own it. Take a look at Solana. Still trying to find its footing, still trying to do its thing. I put it in a similar category to Binance. The Shiba Inu, just, really can't get going. This thing's a real piece of hot garbage.
Come on.
Come on, what?
Shiba Inu? All right.
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
Look into the chart. That's what's wrong with it.
Are you above it? Like, are you too good for Shiba Inu?
I draw the line at like 2-0 at the 100th place. So yeah, 4 zeros is too many zeros for me.
All right. So the actual price itself doesn't matter. It's the market capitalization that matters, right? Which is the real price. What's on the y-axis does not matter at all. It has all these zeros just to piss off people like you. And I think it's actually pretty funny. If I had the power to do things like this, I would do it. Like, just to mess with investors.
You mean it went from 0.0001 to 0.00011? Whoa! I don't know.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's worth more than $4 billion in market capitalization, in case you didn't know, and it's still the 19th largest cryptocurrency. So when you put things into perspective, this is one of the largest cryptocurrencies in the world, right? Top 20. It doesn't mean I want to buy it, right? But I'm not going to not buy it because it has too many zeros in it, Spencer, right? I'm not going to buy it because it's in a downtrend, right?
Yeah.
But if it can get back above this 0.000008, which is essentially the lows from last summer and the lows from the beginning of the year, then we could talk about maybe initiating a position. In the meantime, not for me. The one for me has been and continues to be the crypto miners. Take a look at the crypto miners index there. Our crypto miner of choice, mine anyway, has been Mara, M-A-R-A. Mm-hmm. I know in the chat, I was being asked if I want to be shorting M-A-R-A. I am long, so the answer is no. I'm not shorting. You could knock yourselves out. I own calls that don't expire for a long time, so I'm not really sweating it too much. I got plenty of time, so I'm letting it dance and putting myself. And this is a good lesson. If you're not able to sleep at night, if you want to take action on every little blip, maybe you're too big, right? Maybe you own too much. For me, my positions in cryptocurrencies are a responsible portion of my overall portfolio. So the day-to-day movements don't really change my life too much in both directions. Like, I know I have enough exposure. I also know I don't have too much exposure. So I'm in that sweet spot for me. If we start hitting 32,000 in Bitcoin, then I would argue that I will lose sleep because I don't have enough exposure. Currently, I do. So I'm okay there. And that just gets back to responsible position sizing, putting yourself in a position to succeed. And if you're too big, I think you're going to be too worried about the day-to-day whips, especially in something volatile like these crypto miners. The beta in Mara is 5, okay? What that means is if you have a beta of 5, that means that the stock trades 5 times the volatility of the S&P 500. Right? So it's 5 times more volatile than the overall market. So if you have too big of a position on and you are getting tossed around like a rag doll, you're not going to have a good time sleeping at night. So that's where position sizing comes in. And options help with that, by the way. Options really help with that because in the options market, you can't, if you own calls, for example, you can't lose more than what you invested. You're a limited partner. You can't, what you put in, everything can go to zero, or, or below zero. What do you mean?
No. There are ways to have super magnified losses with options. It's not
If you own calls,
like
if you own calls in a stock,
if you own call,
no matter what happens,
if
you can't
if you
lose
buy a
more than what
call
you
option,
put.
sure. I thought you said like any options trade, which is not true.
No,
So,
not any options trade.
okay.
In most
Okay.
options trades, you're defining your risk. People think that options are more risky than equities. In fact, options are way more conservative. It really depends on how you use them. Sure, you
Yeah,
can use
right.
options
Okay.
irresponsibly, but the truth of the matter is, if you do options right, it's actually more conservative than owning the equity.
Yeah. If you do them in a way that controls your risk, sure.
Yeah, like
Okay.
if you have a knife, right, and you're swinging it around, like that's dangerous. But if you use a knife responsibly to cut your ahi tuna, right, you'll be fine, and it's a nice tool. Right, Spencer. Spencer likes his tuna.
I agree. Let's do, before we bring Kimmy on, let's do the one earnings we have this week. It's Levi Strauss. Let's get that up on the screen and do some of that.
Is this
beat, sales miss, but what's more important is the guidance. They lowered their outlook for the year due to softer U.S. wholesale trends. That's what they said. So they lowered their EPS guidance for the full year. But it was, their old EPS guidance was like $1.29. Now it's like more like $1.15 is what they said. So I guess softer gene demand is basically what they're saying. That's why the stock is down this morning. But that's the story.
This thing's in a downtrend. It's a real hot piece of garbage here. Spencer, I got two fun facts for you. Are you ready for two fun facts?
You've never been in a Levi's.
I don't. I do they even have stores?
No, they don't have stores. What's
fun fact? This brand, Levi's, was founded in 1853.
I don't think I knew that. I knew it was a very old brand.
That's a fun fact, right? 1853. That was before Twitter. And they also own Dockers. Did you know that they own Dockers?
No, I don't think I knew that, but like maybe dig deep down in my subconscious, I do that.
Who's got the fun facts today, huh, Spencer? Who's bringing the heat today with the fun facts? 1853. That's a very fun fact.
Why do you know that is my question.
Well, see, as much as I like to say that I'm not interested in the fundamentals and I'm not interested in what the company does and stuff like that, I tend to be curious as to where the company's located. Like, is it an American company? And then when I look up where the company's located, then it also tells me the city. So I'm like, oh, did you know this is based in San Francisco and founded in 1853? I did not know that. But when I just looked it up, because I'm like, oh, Levi Strauss, is that like the jean company that I don't know that anybody even wears? As it turns out, it is.
So San Francisco in 1853.
170 years ago, Spencer.
So this company is a product of the gold rush. So is Levi Strauss a gold stock?
It certainly trades like one.
Sure, right. Anyway, softer U.S. wholesale trends. So maybe they're calling out Costco and BJ's there, lack of demand for Levi's in their stores. I don't know, just a guess. Okay, chart is what it is. 9:15. Let's bring on Kimmy Sokoloff. See what she's traded today.
Kimmy Sokoloff, 3 for 4 yesterday. NVIDIA, Apple, Qualcomm. Qualcomm short successfully, by the way. Nice trade. Only one loss on the Adobe there, but 3 for 4, Kimmy. Hell of a job, as usual. Keeping up the good work.
Thank you. I felt like yesterday was kind of like pulling teeth a little bit. Monday and Wednesday we did well. I don't know. We had 2 great days. But yesterday it was kind of like, I was like pulling teeth a little bit. I'm like, the market pulled down, then it bounced some. It was just like, I don't know, it was all over.
Listen, Kimmy, earlier in the week, you said that this was going to be a dead week. All the biggest investors are out with their families out in the Hamptons, right? Or Montauk, or what's that town that I haven't been to that you said is so nice?
Amagansett.
That's the one. That's where I got to go. So maybe that's where they're hanging out. And the market is certainly acting that way. When I've been watching the market throughout the week, I have like you in my head being like, Kimmy says all the institutions are on vacation. And like the market's acting that way. It's like an illiquid, like,
very liquid. I mean, look at the volume yesterday, right? The SPYs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the volume was like really dead yesterday, wasn't it? Overall.
Kimmy,
we had a little snapback.
You're right, Kimmy.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. Let me ask you this. Kim, people think that all Kimmy's doing is trading the junky stocks, right? She's trading the Roblox.
No one thinks that.
People think that. Some people think that she's only trading the junky stocks, the Roblox, and the Bitcoin miners and all these stuff. Today, Kimmy's looking at Pepsi. Hello, Pepsi.
The junky stocks. I'm in Amazon, Qualcomm. We just got executed on Baba this morning. I just sold Baba pre-market. I'm not trading junk.
Those are junky stocks. Like NASDAQ.
Wait, do you only consider like McDonald's?
Five stocks. Yeah. 5 stocks are not junky.
John Deere, Deere and Company.
That's not a junky stock. Not a junky stock. By the way, for the record, Kimmy, you're showing your age. It's not John Deere anymore. It's just Deere now.
I know. I always forget. But like we trade Caterpillar, we trade all that. BYND, we'll trade that.
BYND is a junky stock. BYND
it is junky, and I say that. And actually, one of the gentlemen in the room, trader, shout out to him. He took it the other day. I recommended at 13.17. 13.17, and then I said could go to 14, and he took it. Thanks, Kyle. That's
what's hilarious is that because Kimmy has her universe of stocks, like 120, 130 stocks or something like that she really focuses on, and Kimmy calls them her friends. So when JC's coming over here calling them junky stocks, she takes it personally. She's like, don't call my friends junky.
Kimmy, don't you know if a stock is not in the Dow, it's junky?
I know. I mean, Dow's only 30 stocks. I mean, come on now. I mean, there's nothing to the Dow.
John Deere is not in the Dow. Hold on. Let's get back to the topic here.
Pepsi. Some of my traders are here. Oh, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Kyle. Both of you. Little shout outs this week.
What about me? I'm not your trader. I'm not one of your traders.
No.
What are you talking about? Listen,
you're not in the room.
Listen,
Joe.
yes, I am.
Hi, Joe.
I'm just not commenting.
An email.
Kimmy, Pepsi, talk to me about this trade. What are you looking at?
All right. Listen, I was trying to extract, it was like pulling teeth this morning, try to find an idea, believe it or not. Let's see. Where's Pepsi? Where'd it go? Here it is. Let's see. It's a big spread this morning. It's hard to see where it's going to open up, indicate. I have to see how it hangs on to this like 186.50 level. I'm going to see if it could push to the 50-day around 187.39 and maybe head up to like 188 to 188.40. It has been stuck around this 188.40 level. So I want to see if it could get there today or not.
What are you looking at? That gap fill around 190?
I mean, potentially, but it's kind of been like stuck at this 188 level. So I gotta see if it pushes. I mean, it's a nice little pattern. I mean, look, it looks like almost like a little cup and handler kind of thing, right?
Okay, here we go. Cup and handle.
Hey, I'm a technician.
Thank God you are, right? Because there's no way you'd be making all this money if you weren't, right? There's zero chance you'd have this track record if you were trading these things on the fundamentals.
All technical. It's interesting. I did a thing years ago. I'd look at, and I'd call the CMT and I'd say, hey, I don't understand. I said, every time if you apply for a job, they'll have designations that you could choose, like your MBA, doctorate, CFA, and CMT is not there. And I was like, we need to say something to like the big firms, like the Goldman, the Morgan, and like maybe it is now, but this was like 5-6 years ago. I was looking.
They don't have sell side analysts anymore, right?
What?
None of them have sell side analysts anymore. That's
over. Technicians
of anything, but yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, it is a shrinking field.
Merrill Lynch in the 90s had 26 technical analysts. Now they have 2, Paul Sienna and Steve Suttmeyer, right? That's it. They had 26. They have 2 now. Like these jobs don't exist anymore. The world has moved on.
Yeah, I know they just don't hire us though.
By the way, I love Paul Sienna and Steve Sutmeyer. Both of them do great work
Oh
over at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch.
It's very few that get those, a technical analyst as to be an analyst, at a firm and actually being a publishing analyst.
All right, Kimmy, we'll let you go, guys. If you
Thanks.
are not in Kimmy's room, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, but she's there every day. It's where she goes after she leaves us here. And the link to join is a QR code on the screen. It's in the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat right there. It's also in the description of this video on YouTube. She's live trading the open in her room every single day. Check it out.
Thanks, guys. Have a great
She's got
weekend.
winners.
Thanks, Kimmy. See you later.
Have a good one, Kimmy.
Bye, guys.
Oh, that's right. It's Friday.
I want to answer. There's a question. Why aren't they hiring? Why don't they employ technicians? It's a combination of things. The business.
Oh boy, that's a big question.
It's pretty simple. Once the decimalization of the stock prices came in, that was sort of the beginning of the end for the sell side. The spreads that the brokers would keep on these trades used to be huge rips, and that disappeared.
Yep.
So that was sort of the beginning. And it was kind of like a slow death. And then once MiFID II came out, where they just, you need a Chinese wall. Like because what would end up happening is that if they're getting investment banking business from a company, they're not going to put out negative reports on the stock because they're going to lose the iBanking business. They're going to lose that bit, which is huge business, by the way. So because of all the conflicts of interest, now it's illegal to do that. But by the time MiFID II came out, the business was dead as it was. So the fact that now you have all these old school sell side analysts oh my God, what do I do? It's like, bro, where have you been the last 20 years? And now all of a sudden you realize that it's over. It's been over. So I don't feel bad for it at all.
The technicians were on the sell side desk, and the whole sell side desk has been decimated in the last decade or so. It's just a dying. The whole concept of sell side research, where you have someone that theoretically has their nose to the ears to the ground, nose to the grindstone, whatever, and has an inside line of the company. It just doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, that's why.
But
hope that helps.
Anyway, okay, yeah, sure. Hey, let's do some movers here. We got a few stocks I want to talk about that are moving this morning. I want to talk about Alibaba, because Kimmy mentioned it. Alibaba is up. Last I checked was up a few.
I don't know anybody
points,
who follows Alibaba more than Kimmy Sokoloff.
It's up for a very good reason, though, because of a report that they have apparently reached an agreement with the Chinese government. They're going to pay a $1.1 billion fine to settle. This is for the Baba's parent company and financial and group. $1.1 billion fine to settle whatever regulatory shenanigans that the government was concerned about. So if you've been following the story for the last 3 years now, 3 years ago, the government just dropped the hammer on all their big tech, mostly Baba, but just the tech industry as a whole. But Baba maybe got too big, too powerful. Jack Ma got too rich. They dropped the hammer. It's been sort of a back and forth ever since then. And now it appears that they've reached a deal, and Baba is no longer in the crosshairs of their own government. So that's a good thing. So that's why the stock is up today. And we have a Baba chart. Let's bring that up. There it is.
Dude, you know how Jim Rogers was I don't want to say he was heated, but he was disappointed that they weren't going to mainland China, the boys. That because they're going to Hong Kong.
Was he?
They're going to Hong Kong, they're going to Taipei, but they're not going to mainland. So they promised Jim Rogers that when they get done with the whole thing, they go to Europe, back to North America, Latin America, the whole thing. Then they'll do another trip, just China, Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Beijing. So funny, right?
Wait,
he's got a soft spot. Jim Rogers, soft spot for China.
Wait. I thought Hong Kong was considered mainland now.
Hong Kong is definitely not mainland. No,
it's not.
No, definitely not. Hong Kong is it's not communist. I mean, it's communist.
No, but I thought now it is. That was the whole point.
No,
no,
not at all.
Okay,
Hong Kong is like
all
New York without the Puerto Ricans and the Jews and more Chinese and Brits.
All right. Fun fact: my grandma was born in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong is freaking awesome. I love Hong Kong.
Anyway,
I
back
would
to
live in-
Alibaba.
I almost lived in Hong Kong. I was trying to convince my wife to move to Hong Kong. We almost did.
Oh boy. Do you have any thoughts on this chart?
It's a piece of crap. Move on. I saw a
Okay.
Rivian truck throw up slide one. Throw up slide one. Throw the
Rivian.
update. Throw the update. Slide one there. This one's old. Rivian. I saw a Rivian truck yesterday. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I was pushing the
Was it
stroller
nice?
with my twins, so it was inappropriate. It was kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of nice. I kind of liked it. Rivian truck.
Price target raise today from Wedbush. That's why the stock is up this morning.
Oh, is that why it's up? It's not because of this monster short squeeze. What's the short interest on this bad boy? Anybody got a short interest? Give me a short interest.
I could tell you.
The short interest on this bad boy, I'm sure it's high. Short ratio. Actually, it's not that high. It's only 16% of the float is short.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's not that
I don't
high.
think it's that high.
Short ratio of 3.5, so 3.5 days to cover.
Yeah,
It's not that much.
I'm seeing 13%. Yeah, that's not high at all.
I would expect it much higher in this guy. So interesting though. You know, you're getting rotation to some of these junky names. You know, not that there's anything wrong with trading junky names. I trade junky names. You know, some people take offense to that. They're like, "Don't call my stock junky." You know, there's nothing wrong with junky names. What's the market cap on this bad boy? This is a
still obscene.
$20 billion, bro. That's a lot. And I got to tell you, you know me. If I thought that the truck was ugly as hell, I'd be the first one to say it. I thought it was kind of cool. That's my fundamental analysis on Rivian.
Truck going parabolic here, and then Biogen got FDA approval yesterday, for a Alzheimer's treatment drug that they've been working on for a while. This is not a cure. Obviously, there's no cure for this disease, but it is a treatment. And that got approval this morning. So Biogen is trending. Stock has done some funky things in the pre-market session, but let's zoom out and look at the longer term.
Yeah, look
here.
at the longer term chart of Biogen.
Gap City in regards to this their Alzheimer's efforts. Every gap is related to that basically. So
here I got a long-term chart that I want to share here. Throw up slide one here. It's just to put things in perspective how this thing has just done nothing for quite some time, this Biogen. See that? Just sideways, man. Look at that thing. This thing you want to talk about a big base. This thing's done nothing for almost a decade. Like just sideways. So I think an upside resolution, very similar to the 2000s, right? Doesn't that look familiar?
Yeah.
Right? Very similar. This is a monster uptrend after several splits, obviously going back 30 years. Listen, for you longer term investors, this isn't something I'm going to be buying tomorrow or next week or probably not anytime soon, but man, we start getting an upside resolution out of this base in Biogen. Man, that's some serious basing. And the way I learned it was that the bigger the base, the higher in space, Spencer.
That's it.
And they're off.
Hey, there is our Opal. So in honor of that, let's move on and let's look at it. We'll do a hot corner, we'll do chart report, and then we'll bring on Mary. And she's going to talk about some of her recent trades.
See it.
Hot corner. So hot right now.
All right. So this Elfers guy just bought $1 million worth of stock at this children's place.
All right.
Jane Elfers.
Here we go.
Jane Elfers filing a Form 4, president and CEO. How do we feel about that? This Jane Elfers. Anybody know anything about her?
Well,
clearly she's got a technician working for her, buying stock at support, right? You think she caught that on her own, or?
No, in all honesty, it's more than likely just a pre-planned thing, and it's like buy at this every time it gets down here.
No, it's not a pre-planned thing. This is an open market transaction. It might have been pre-planned in her head, you mean?
Man, I don't know. That's interesting.
No, this is an open market transaction, not a planned purchase, not options being exercised. She picked up her phone and called her broker and bought the stock, just like you would, Spencer. just like you would.
I call my broker every day. My broker is me. Where is? Do you know where they're are they headquartered in New Jersey? Do you know? Because there's a big office near me, Children's Place
Spencer.
office.
There are other states in the union. Not everything's based in New Jersey.
All right, well,
but this one is. This one is.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because that's what I thought. I drive past it all the time. I wasn't sure if that was the headquarters or not. Okay.
Children's Place is a store, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Do you think I've been to one? Do you think I've been to one?
I've never been to one. I don't know.
Oh, what a flex, Spencer. What a flex there. You've never been to a...
Wait, can we go back to the table real fast?
Go back to the table.
Thank you. So, Children's Place, Mercury Systems, and the rest of
Mercury Systems, Aerospace and Defense, Jana Partners filing a 13D. Big.
Hey, haven't seen too much from Jana lately.
MRCY, huh? Wow, this thing's a disaster. What is this thing? Mercury.
They're buying the dip. They're averaging down, is what they're doing.
This is a $2 billion aerospace and defense stock from Andover, Massachusetts, Spencer. Andover, Massachusetts. Founded in 1981, for those who are interested. Man, look at this thing.
Well, they just raised their stake from 4.8 to 8%, so they're averaging down more in all likelihood in this thing.
The way I learned it from Paul Tudor Jones, Mr. Spencer, is that only losers average down losers.
I thought it was never frown, average down.
No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Paul Tudor Jones would never.
You never heard that before?
That's stupid. Why would anybody say that? Never frown, average down. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's said in jest. Obviously, it's said in jest. It's not. No. Don't take that seriously.
Only losers average down losers, folks. Don't forget.
All right, guys. That hot corner table goes out every single day. It is totally free. If you want to get it, just email us. Do it right now. Email is on the screen. Put hot corner in the subject. It's questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and then we'll get you on the list for that. And then starting next week, I'll actually have a page for you where you can just sign up yourself without having to email us.
By the way, big options. I feel like when we do the hot corner, we focus on the big purchases and we ignore the big option. You know, not that we ignore it in real life, but on the show we ignore it. Big options activity coming in Best Buy. I just want to mention that.
Just to be clear, these are also open market options activities, right? Like that's what this is.
But yeah, so not just like, you know, any unusual options. Like any idiot could come up with like an unusual options scanner. Like these are very specifically incredibly large, very, very aggressive, one-sided positions that are just too massive to ignore, right? It's one of those things where like wow, like we have to add it to the list. Like that's why there's only a few. Sometimes there's one, sometimes there's two or three. So, you know, it's not like every quote unquote unusual options activity. Like I said, any idiot could build one of those scans. That's nothing special. These are just massive, massive transactions. Best Buy, just very, very interesting there. Very interesting. The Geek Squad was at my house yesterday, Spencer.
The what?
The Geek Squad was at my house.
I have to go to Best Buy today or tomorrow.
They installed the TV. They did a hell of a job. These days, they don't need to do the thing where they put the cables behind the wall and everything like that because there's no boxes anymore. Everything's on the internet. So I thought that was cool. I'm old school, so I was like, oh, where do you want to put the hole? And, you know, where do you want to put the things? They looked at me like I had three heads. They're like, talking, bro.
Yep.
I thought that was funny.
All right. Let's do not hot corner. Let's do chart report, and then we'll bring on Mary.
All right, so this is yesterday's.
Which of these is my favorite? I don't know if I have a particular favorite from yesterday's report. I'm just gonna scroll here.
Can I quote Warren Buffett here?
Yeah, that was the quote of the day.
Quote of the day. Actually, Uncle Warren, ready? Uncle Warren.
Yep.
At all times, in all markets, in all parts of the world, the tiniest change in rates changes the value of every financial asset. God bless you, Uncle Warren. God bless you. You know, for me, I have a hard time having a conversation about the stock market without talking about bonds, right? So Uncle Warren throwing in there the interest rates conversation.
Well, that jives with the chart of the day, right? That's what Matt Timpane was saying as well in his chart of the day, where the reason for the sell-off in equities was due to the rise in yields in the bond market. That's what that so.
Throw up Ian McMillan's chart there. The New York Stock Exchange Composite. Shout out Ian McMillan. Former support turning into resistance. Still looking at those early highs from February. The New York Stock Exchange Composite is still down there. And people, I think it's important to understand what's in the New York Stock Exchange Composite. Understand that a large it's not a majority. I think last I checked, it was like 40% of the New York Stock Exchange composite are not even American stocks, right? These are foreign stocks. So, it might be the New York Stock Exchange, but there's a lot of foreign stocks. So that's number one. Number two, you got a lot more exposure to cyclicals, things like industrials, financials, not just because of those foreign equities, but that helps because foreign stocks don't have all that exposure to technology that you're going to have in something like the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is going to be half of it is technology. Literally half the NASDAQ is technology. So it's going to be much different than what you're going to see in the New York Stock Exchange. By the way, the majority of the NASDAQ is American too. So American tech is the NASDAQ. Mm-hmm. The New York is much more diversified, a lot more cyclicals. And that's why, as much as it was the New York Stock Exchange was outperforming off the lows last summer, it is now underperforming what the NASDAQ looks like or what some of these other exchanges look like because of its exposure. So I think a breakout above those February highs in the New York Stock Exchange Composite is a big one. But when you look at the internal, Spencer, I don't know if you've been counting. Me over here, you know how much I like to count. I am seeing the most amount of new 52-week highs on the New York Stock Exchange that we've seen in over 52 weeks. So in other words, new 52-week highs in the amount of 52-week highs on the New York Stock Exchange. So the internals are already breaking out. My suspicion is the index will soon as well.
Okay. Guys, if you want the chart report, it's completely free. Goes in your inbox every single day, courtesy of one Patrick Donawilla. If you want to get it, there is a link in the description. There's also a QR code on the screen right now. Don't spend all day on Twitter or Threads or wherever the hell the kids are these days trying to find the best insights. Pat does the work for you. He compiles all the best tweets, all the best charts from the day, and puts them in one easy-to-read note that goes out every single evening. Check it out. It's there. It's on the screen. And
it's a great read. The best technicians in the world, what they're talking about every single day, and most of us, almost I would say all of us, don't have the time to be sitting there and finding out what they're all saying every single day. So receiving that in my inbox every evening is it's nice. I like it.
All right, let's bring on our last guest of the day. Every day we try to bring someone on from the team to just hang out and shoot the breeze or whatever. It's been a while since we've spoken to Mary. We love Mary. If you don't know who Mary is, you're about to find out. Mary is
everybody loves Mary. Does Mary have a bumper?
Everybody. Mary does not have a bumper. We got to get Mary a bumper. I guess that's on me. Mary, I promise I will get you a bumper. In the meantime, all I can do is just bring you on cold. So we're going to do that right now. What up, Mary?
Hey, guys.
Mary.
Good morning.
Mary, can you believe they don't have a bumper for you? Can you believe that shit?
I can't believe it, honestly. Seriously.
I'm gonna make a request.
Look at this. We have a guy from Ohio on the show. No bumper for Mary. Like, what are you doing over here? What is this?
What are we doing bringing people on from Ohio? I'm not sure about that broadcasting.
It's like the third week in a row we've had somebody from Ohio on the show, actually.
There's a lot of people in Ohio.
I don't mind the Midwesterners. That's okay.
All right, Mary, for those who don't know, Mary is, I'm not sure what even your title is. What do we call you? Just our customer extraordinaire? I don't even know.
Head of telesales, eyes on everything we do, best customer, right? Because Mary might be on the phones with our customers all day, but Mary is in there trading with Kimmy. She's looking at the inside scoop. She's looking at the hot corner, right? Young aristocrats. Mary, why don't you tell us, like, what does your day look like in terms of the market? Start with Kimmy in the morning and kind of go from there. What does it look like?
Yeah, sure. I'm a total junkie. No, no joke. I'm up in the morning and looking through Twitter and checking to see what you guys have been saying. Obviously, catching the morning show right at 8:30. That's the highlight of my day starting out. And then at 9:30, yeah, I jump in with Kimmy. And you guys, seriously, I know JC says it that she's off the charts, but she is off the charts. Her hit rate is amazing. It's so good. And considering I'm working full time, I love that I can be with her at 9:30 in the morning, take a couple of trades, hit a couple of winners, and then be about my day, continuing on with all the other work that JC piles on me. So, that's kind of how I start my day. And then I love watching all of the things that we put out with the hot corner and the chart report and what the FIC and all of the broadcasting, because these are all things that I love to watch, and then I take the ideas and I make them my own. And so I'm constantly watching the markets while I'm taking the calls, and love to chat markets with all the customers that call in, and it's a fun job. I love what I do.
I love that you just talked about, obviously, Mary, you're busy. You're doing a lot of things. And, one of the things I love about Kimmy and her trades is that over half the trades, 50-60% of the trades are in the first 30 minutes of the day. And about 80-90% of the trades are in the first hour of the day. So for us who are busy, we're all busy. Most of the trades are early on, front loaded, and you can get back to work, get back to what you're doing after that. I really like that.
Yep, exactly. And also I love the fact that she's helpful with long-term planning as well, because I do the short-term trading, but then I also have a long-term portfolio, a mid-term portfolio, and I am listening to her throughout the day. So even when I stop trading with her, I still have her on in the background. She's become like my friend in the office throughout the entire day.
Nice.
And, I listen to what she's saying, what she's seeing in the markets, and that helps me adjust my portfolios based on, the strengths, areas of strength that she's seeing, and also what she is witnessing going on throughout the day.
So Mary, you work for us, but you're also like a power user in a way, right? So
yeah,
why she works for us.
That's why I work for you guys.
Right,
yeah, I was a junkie first.
So tell us about a recent trade or two that you've put on.
So let's see.
Or taken off. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So one of my best winners yet this year was an All-Star Charts trade that we put out, I think back in February, ACLS. And we were watching that over 120, and it was consolidating for quite a while, right at that 120 level. Got in, started loading up the position, and I just took that off a couple of days ago, right as it was hitting about 184. I think our target was 190 on that trade. And, it was getting close enough, and the market was starting to feel pretty extended, that trade particularly. And so I fed the ducks, as JC would say. And so that was a huge winner for me. And just in the last couple of days with Kimmy.
Semiconductor stock, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
So nice group to be in.
Yes, lots of strength there.
Yeah.
With Kimmy, I've traded NEO and UPS in the last couple of days. Just, had a quick 4 or 5% hit in UPS, a 8% hit in NEO. And like I said, I was in and then out within minutes, half hour. It was a great trade.
Nice.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who are, have any questions on what Kimmy's doing, for those of you who have any questions on what Pat's doing over at the chart report, what's going on at the hot corner, you want to get an inside sort of take on what the value that you get as a user, I highly, highly encourage you to talk to Mary. Mary's lovely, by the way, as you could tell. So she's just nice to hang out with. Mary and I, last time I was with Mary, it was like at 2:00 in the morning at a jazz club in the West Village, for the record. So Mary gets down too.
That was a riot, no joke.
Mary is our product extraordinaire. She knows everything about everything. Whether it's Kimmy or the chart report private access or everything that we offer, she knows it. So when we tell you to call us, when we put our number up on the screen like it is now, what we're really saying is talk to Mary. That's really what we're saying. So if you have any
call
questions,
after the show because I'm here.
yeah,
right now.
don't call her now. Don't call her now.
Call her
She's
now.
busy.
Blow her up. Blow up the phone.
She's
Call
busy.
now.
She's
She'll call
busy.
you back. She'll call you back.
She's
Call her
busy.
now.
But if you're like, what the hell do these guys even offer? Right? I like them. How do I get more of them? Call her 323-421-79. Wait a minute. Is there a typo in that? There's a typo on that number.
That's one of two.
That's
of
one of them.
numbers.
Okay. Yeah, there was two.
reach
That's right.
me. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah, because I usually use the 7910 number, but okay, that works too.
Nikki wants to know if we were hanging out at Fat Cats. I don't think Fat Cats is there anymore, Nikki. Somebody double check. Is Fat Cats still there? I used to hang out there all the time. We were at Smalls. Good time.
Giancarlo was there too.
Giancarlo was there. Some of the others were passing. It was
Alfonso
late.
was there for a bit. Yeah.
We went to the midnight set.
You guys hung out way too late for me. I was long in bed by then. Wait, can I tell you guys about a recent trade that I made? And I'm curious to get both your thoughts on this. I bought Mattel, and I know we have a chart somewhere of it. I bought Mattel at like 17 something. I think 1730, 1770, somewhere around there.
Nice entry.
This was my thesis. Are you ready for this? I put a lot of thought into this. The Barbie movie that comes out in 2 weeks is going to be the hit of the summer. Okay? It's going to be the blockbuster movie of the year, or at least of the summer, maybe of the year. And people are going to be like, whoa, what other IP does Mattel have that we can make movies out of? And it's going to be silly, but it's going to be in the news all the time. Barbie is going to be all anyone talks about it for a week or two in a couple weeks when that movie's out. And they're going to say, hey, who owns Barbie? Mattel owns Barbie. Oh my God, look at that stock. It's on fire. Let's buy it. So this is me trying to front run that. And that is my thesis on Mattel.
I'm going to share my chart on Mattel, Spencer, because
Mary, what do you think?
Yeah. It's a great thesis, I guess. To each their own. JC's chart, as I was looking at that, I see a couple of little scoop and scores or whoopsie moves. That looks interesting to me. But
take a look at my chart that I just posted, Spencer. I think that your thought process on this trade is I couldn't think of a dumber thesis to be honest. But I will say that your entry point on that 1770 you said.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. Give me a second.
I think that's pretty perfect, to be honest with you. So
1773, yeah.
I think that's a pretty damn good entry, my man. And you're making money, so it doesn't matter what I think. So I think the entry was good. For me, this looks like a classic example of a not a top pattern, right? And like I always say, the best topping patterns are the ones that are not that at all. They're just consolidations with an ongoing uptrends. I think you might be onto something here, Spencer. I don't know about this whole like movie thing and the Barbies. I don't know about all that.
Yeah. First off, it's going to be a good movie. I'm calling it now. Okay. And it's going to be a huge hit, and it's going to be in the news every day for like 2 weeks. And
when does it come out? I've been hearing about this damn thing forever. When does it come out?
I think 2 weeks from today. I think. Right. So
Mary, you want to hear something funny? Spencer, bless his heart. He's like,
absolutely.
Oh, JC. I need to talk to you. How old's your daughter? I'm like, oh, she's almost 3. She's like, oh, thank God. All right, so you're gonna take her to this movie, right? I'm like, are you kidding me? Take a 3-year-old to a movie and think she's gonna sit there and watch it? What are you? Like,
I'm so bullish Barbie right now that I want JC to take it. Even his toddler, his baby twins, take them too. I'm so bullish.
Mary, how do you think a 2-year-old's gonna handle a movie theater?
I think they're going to sleep through it, but
if you're lucky, there's zero chance she's even gonna sleep. No. She's gonna be like, let's get the hell out of here. This blows. No,
I'm so bullish Barbie. You guys don't even know right now. And
Spencer, you'll have to let me know how that is.
They own, what else do they own? Mattel owns Hot Wheels. They're making a Hot Wheels movie now. Okay. He-Man. Okay. So there's more. There's more where this came from.
They own American Girl. That's a big one. They own Polly Pocket. How about that?
Polly Pocket, right. That's right.
Polly Pocket is still around. I don't know what Monster High is, but they own that too. They own Fisher Price. Also,
I did not know that.
Mattel owns American Girl?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Oh,
That's
Mary
not-
likes American Girl. How much money
Well,
you spending there these days, Mary?
You don't even want to know. So I've got a 7-year-old daughter. So, and she, loves to. So with my kids, they have their own trading portfolios and they choose stocks that they want to have in their trading portfolios. It's part of, the teaching them about the markets as, they're so they're able to participate. And so she was asking me just recently about American Girl. And I was not aware that was part of Mattel. So now I'm sure this is going to go in her portfolio.
Dude, Masters of the Universe. Very cool. All right.
So bullish. So bullish Mattel IP right now. All right. It's the end of the show. Usually we do some recess or we mess around. If you have any questions in the chat about like specific charts or not, just more general questions, now is the time to drop them in. But let's do some recess here quickly, and then we will hop off for the day. Man, Restream just changed all the layout of their pages. I don't know where anything is. I have to like hunt around now to find crap.
You could find
All
it.
right, here's our recess. Yeah, I know, but it just takes me a second. Here's our recess bumper.
I got a recess question for Mary. Why are the cherry pies so good where you live?
Oh man, I don't know what it is about the cherries here in Michigan, but right? Because Traverse City Pie, you're talking about Traverse City Pie Company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's some secret sauce. I don't know. It's something magical.
That's all you got for me? It's
all
secret
I
sauce,
got.
something magical? That's all you got?
Well, it's Michigan. I mean, Michigan cherries and,
It's a thing, cherries in Michigan?
Absolutely, yes. Lots of our fruits. So cherries, blueberries, apples. We've got lots of fruit farms.
Mary? Do you garden at all?
I kill most things that I touch that are green.
All right, that's fair.
I took a tremendous trip up north to northern Michigan last summer. Went to the UP for the first time. Wonderful. It's Mackinac Island. It's wonderful up there. There really is, like, people in Michigan like love to brag about northern Michigan. And they're not wrong to do that. There really are there's nothing like the Great Lakes in the world. If you ever get the chance to see the Great Lakes, go on like a cruise, like a sunset cruise or whatever, highly recommend do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We love our Great Lakes. There's no salt, no sharks.
They do.
There's no sharks.
That's right. No salt, no sharks. But it's freaking cold. That's all I'll say. It's freaking cold. Anyway, what else? JC, you got anything for recess?
Well, I gotta say, I hadn't played golf in a long time, and I was a little bit nervous on how I was gonna do. And I actually played really well for me anyway. But I just want to reiterate just how nice it is, just to be out there on the course. Hit some balls, whether you hit them well or not. Being out on a beautiful day on a course, have a couple of drinks, maybe a cigar, out with friends. I've been busy having kids. So I haven't been able to do much of that lately, but I had a lovely time last week playing golf. Played golf with Jeff Hirsch, actually, Mary, of a Stock Traders Almanac. You guys are not reading the Stock Traders Almanac. I don't know what you're thinking. Go get it. Get it every year. Really.
All right. My recess, I'm going to bring it up a picture on the screen. I'm super bullish this dry roasted edamame that Phil Perlman got me on. It's by this company called Sea Point Farms. It's like a really good snack, right? It's a super high protein snack. I would imagine similar to like nuts, I guess, but I can't eat nuts, so I wouldn't know. But very bullish on the Sea Point Farms dry roasted edamame. I buy this. It lasts me like a couple months. It's fantastic. Great healthy snack. It's got some salt, got some crunch.
Is it all protein? It's 100% protein?
It's like a shit ton of protein. It's not all protein, but it is a lot of protein. Yeah.
There's only 1 gram of sugar. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's 14 grams of protein per serving, which is a lot.
Is it one of those things like nuts where you can't have too many? You got to take a handful, or like you can eat as many as you want?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, like, Perlman, like, it's like, oh, like cashews, like they're healthy. It's like a good fat and all this stuff. But like, if you eat too many of them, like it starts becoming, because they're very high in calories and things like that. So like, it's good for you with certain portions, right? But like steak, you can eat as much steak as you want, and you can't eat too much. You can eat as much chicken as you want.
I don't know anything about this. I tend to fill up a mug and eat like a mug
damn
full
it,
of the time.
Spencer, you're supposed to know these things.
I don't know anything about that. It's so high in protein. I imagine you can just eat as much of it as you want. It's not that many calories.
According to Jonathan, edamame is vegan, so that means I'm not going to eat it. I'm just kidding.
Sodium could be an issue. Yeah, it is salty. I'll definitely, but that leads to me drinking more water, so that's a good thing. So, big brain. Okay.
No, it's dehydrating you, so you're just getting back to the zero line. You still need to drink more water, just because you're right. You see what I'm saying? Like,
this is actually empty, but normally it's full. Okay, couple questions from the chat.
Talk about the dollar. About the dollar.
Yeah. Where do you see the USD going? Stuck in the 105, 100 range.
I got to tell you, the fact that it ain't going anywhere, and the US 10-year yield for that matter, stocks like it, right? Stocks really like it a lot. So I think what the stocks are proving, we've had a very strong negative correlation between the US dollar, which is getting slammed today, a negative correlation between the US dollar and equities, and rather than a scenario where the US dollar has to go down for stocks to go up, the market's been behaving like as long as the dollar's not going up, stocks are going up, right? So a sideways dollar, a down dollar, all seems to be good. The trend for me in the US dollar is still down. There's no evidence at all that anything's changed there. If we're below that 105, 106 level, the trend is still down. It looks like it's ultimately going to break on the US dollar index and we head down to the mid 90s. That's what it looks like to me. There's no evidence whatsoever otherwise yet anyway. So the trend is short-term sideways, intermediate term still down, I think, which I think is a tailwind for equities.
All right. Hope that answered that question, Jonathan. Do we have any more? I think we had
stock market cycles. Shout out Nikki talking about the little book of stock market cycles written by Jeff Hirsch. Highly recommended. It's literally a little book. So Wiley came out with like a series of little books.
Yeah.
And the book is actually little, but it's short also. So it's a quick read. He goes over all the different most important. He talks about the presidential cycle, all the different seasonals. The little book of market cycles by Jeff Hirsch. Highly recommended. Thanks for that, Nikki, for sure.
All right. That's going to be a wrap for the show and also a wrap for the channel today. Know what the fick, because Ian Cully literally cannot talk. He has no voice to speak. So we'll have to bump the show today. So we will see you guys on Monday.
Oh, hey.
Everybody.
I want to give a shout out to this Tell Act group, Mackinac Island. Another Michigan, either a Michigander or they've been to Michigan. So I'm bullish fudge.
Wait.
Bullish fudge.
Did you say Mackinac? Wait, time out. Did you just say Did you say Mackinac?
Mackinac. Oh, yes. It's technically Mackinac Island. It's often referred to as Mackinac. It's always referred to as Mackinac Island. Yes. Because
I thought that's how it's pronounced.
Because the fort in Mackinac was Fort Mackinac.
I've never heard anyone say Mackinac Island before. Yeah. Granted, I'm not a native Michigander, but it was always explained to me that it's Mackinac.
Yes, it goes both ways. It's both are
fine. Okay,
Nikki,
whatever. All right.
Nikki was saying how he was talking to Jeff Hirsch on Twitter. He said the sequel might be coming. I was playing golf with him this weekend. The sequel ain't coming anytime soon. So.
All right, everyone, have a great one. If you want to be so kind, drop us a like, hit that thumbs up on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. Check out all of our free stuff. The links are in the description. Chart report, weekly options, trade and strategy email. Kimmy's room is there as well. Thanks to Mary. Thanks to Christian. Who else was here today? I think that was it. Thanks to JC. Oh, Kimmy. As always, Kimmy. Thanks to you all in the chat. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys later.
Adios.
See ya.
Raise it, John. Run it. I can't take no